so that we have the materials later on. And share the screen. Okay. I think we should wait a little more because everyone is joining. Okay, let's say hi to others too. Hello, Vartuhi.
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
Thanks. What about you?
Is everything all right? So it's the end of the week. Just, yeah, I'm waiting for the weekend to start for me. So yeah, and I'm really excited because tomorrow I'm going to ski resort to Sarkazor. Woohoo, I'm going to ski at last. Yeah, and okay, how about you? Go ahead. Can you present yourself? Hello.
I don't know you. Yes, hello.
Hey, hello.
Yes, I'm Gohar. I'm from Razdan.
Okay,
you are
nice
welcome,
to meet you.
Sarkazor. Yes.
You're oh, okay. Accountant, okay.
And I'm studying ACCA also for became as an international accountant.
Okay, you're professional. I mean, you learned accounting professionally, and it's your profession. And you work as an accountant as well for an international company, right? Go ahead, you hear us? Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so we are, I think we will start already. The people who haven't joined, they will join us later. And let me share the screen for us to start. So as you know already, so today's topic is going to be about fundamentals of Ielts. And this is lesson 2. So in the previous lesson, most of you were not, or none of you were present. So it was about fundamentals of Ielts speaking. So if you are interested, I have the recording of the previous lesson, and later on I can share it with you. So during this lesson, so it's not like English clubs we usually have. During this lesson, I will be the only one who's speaking, but from time to time, if you have questions and they are urgent, just stop me and ask them. If they are not urgent, it's a good idea just to take notes of them. And then when I just from part to part, I will just stop and ask you whether you have questions for me or not, okay? Okay, so let's start. Okay, so today's lesson is about listening fundamentals of Ielts. So what we're going to do today, okay? So first, the overview of a listening test, and then you will learn about the 10 reasons why you are failing, the 10 reasons to those problems, I mean, solutions to those problems, and also the demo of how to use step-by-step strategies, okay? Here you can see the listening test overview, okay? So you see that it has 4 parts, and for each part, there are 10 questions. And okay, so the question, sorry. For each part, there are 10 questions. Okay, the questions get more and more difficult each time, and you have to be ready for it. The test lasts approximately 30 minutes, okay? 30, 35, it depends, and each recording is played only once, okay? You will have 10 minutes at the end in order to transfer your answers from your notes into your answer sheet in this case, okay? Okay, so now let's get deep, general notion about each part. First of all, The first task, the listening task, it will be a conversation between two people within a social everyday context. A second section is one person speaking in a social everyday context. Okay. And the third one is going to be about conversation between two or more people within educational context already, not social everyday. Okay. And the fourth one, a lecture, and this lecture is normally on an academic subject. It can be a biology about the, I don't know, environmental problems, things like this. Okay. More information about IELTS listening test. Each recording lasts around 5 minutes. Okay. And while listening, you have to answer 10 questions, which can be of different types. For example, they can be multiple choice, like A, B, C, D. They can be short answers, like you are given a question and you have to give a short answer for that with 1 word or 2 words, or filling in the gaps, or some diagram, or also data table. There is additional time at the end of the test to write your final answers, just to write in the answer sheet all your answers, okay? The listening module is the same in both academic and also general training versions of IELTS, okay? So what I mean is that there are 2 types of IELTS, right? Academic and general IELTS. So in both exams, listening tasks are the same. So you don't need to worry about a difference here. Okay, the listening module lasts around 35 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes. And also you have to take into account the time limit here. Okay, let's get deeper. Before we go on, maybe anyone has any questions so far? No, let's see who has joined. Knadik, hello. Okay, Lena, hello. Where is Ina, Lena?
Hello, she's here with me.
Where is she? Ah, with you in the same, okay.
Yes, we're together.
Okay. So yeah, we have already started. It was just the beginning. So we're talking about the main 4 parts of IELTS listening test, and that there is no difference between general and academic IELTS listening test. Okay, it's just the same. Okay, now let's get deeper into each section of IELTS listening. So a conversation between the first one, okay, so is the conversation between 2 people, the first task of listening, within social or everyday context. So it will last approximately 5 minutes, and you will have to answer to 10 questions. You understand? Yes, that it has 4 parts. Each part has 10 questions. Totally, you have to answer to 40 questions. The first part, again, lasts nearly 5 minutes, and you have to answer to 10 questions. And it is kind of a conversation between 2 people in social and everyday context, like you are talking to your friend, or you are talking to some classmate or student from the university, and so on. An example is here for topics for the first task of listening of IELTS. And it can be an interview about students' well-being. It can be a telephone conversation about buying travel tickets. It can be a student asking about accommodation, etc. Okay, so you see, it's an everyday social kind of situation. And it will be a conversation between 2 people. Okay, section 1 is about a dialogue. Let's go on. Wait, sorry, where is it? Section 2. In section 2, one person is speaking in a social everyday context. It's a monologue, okay? So it's one person who's speaking, not 2 people. So it will last again 5 minutes approximately. The questions are 10 as usual, and the topics can be like this. You can see them on the screen. A radio program about local history, a short talk about healthy eating, a presentation about student services. So next, section 3. It is conversation between 2 or more people within educational context. Okay, so section 1 and 2 is more about social everyday conversation, and section 3 already is about educational context, more academic context. Okay, think about it. And the conversation is between 2 or more people here in this case. Okay, in the case of the first listening task, it was 1 person. 2 people, and the second task was 1 person monologue, and here we have 2 or more. It can be a conversation between a group of people. Okay, so you have to be ready to hear different people talking. Again, you have 10 questions, and the questions become more and more difficult. And an example for this task section, for section 3, can be a discussion between a student and a tutor about an assignment, for example, or can be the tutor and 2 students, for instance. It can be a seminar discussion about a research project where it can be the lecturer and a lot of students there, okay? Or it can be a conversation between 2 students discussing homework. Okay, so, and all of these topics, what they're discussing, are within educational context, not about social everyday context. Okay, are there any questions so far about listening task 1, 2, and 3? No one? Okay, let's move on. Who is that?
No.
Okay, then let's go
It
on.
means that we
No.
don't have any questions.
If there is no sound, then I understand everything is clear. Okay, so let's move on. Section 4. It's normally a lecture on academic subject again. Okay, task 3 and task 4 are all about educational context and academic subject. Okay, 4 is lecture on academic subject. It's not just a conversation, it's a lecture. It's like your professor is giving a lecture, okay, at a university. Again, 5 minutes, 10 questions, and an example of the task can be what you see on the screen. A lecture on history of photography, for example, the professor is speaking about it. Professor is speaking about giving a lecture on volcanoes, a lecture on animal behavior. You do not need any knowledge of these topics to answer the questions, okay? So the questions will be formed or formulated in a way so that you don't need to have preliminary knowledge about these topics, okay? Don't worry about the knowledge of specific topics, because whatever you need, you will be given during the test. Okay, so the information will be given by the lecturer, by the professor who is presenting the topic. Next one. Okay, after listening, you have 10 minutes. Okay, you have all this listening, 4 sections, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. So it's very difficult. Why? Because you are under time pressure, and you have to keep on concentrating again and again and again. There is no pause between the sections, and you have to keep going and do not confuse, and concentrate on the next question. Do not worry about the previous one, okay? We'll go deeper into this topic later on, how to control, so what to do in order to not to have problems. We'll go into details here later on. After listening, you have 10 minutes. You are given 10 minutes after this on and on and on listening, 4 sections. You have 10 minutes to transfer your 40 answers from question paper where you made notes, check, 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 check. You have 10 minutes in order to transfer all these answers to the answer sheet. You are given an answer sheet if you are going to take the exam in person. Okay, you are given an answer sheet and you have to mark the answers there. Okay. Okay, and you have to note that any spelling error will be penalized. Okay, it doesn't matter that you answered correctly the answer. It matters also whether it is correct from the point of view of spelling. For example, if the answer is the airport and you write the airport with airport, so your answer will be considered as 0. Okay, so spelling is crucial here. You have to work on the spelling when you're, so it's the rules of Ielts. I can't do anything here, okay? I haven't created the rules. It's the Ielts rules that you have to write with correct spelling. If your word is correct, you guess the word, but the spelling is wrong, the answer is 0. You don't get any point from it, okay? Even 0.5, no, 0, okay? Yeah, just a second. How IELTS listening answers are scored? A human examiner marks your answers, a person, not a robot, okay? You get 1 point for each correct answer. And giving you that, it will give you the raw score of 40 because you're answering 40 questions, right? 10 questions from each section. This is converted into a band score from 0 to 9. The highest point is 9. The lowest is 0. And for example, you need 30 correct answers from listening to get band score of 7. Understand? Just a second. Sorry. So to get 7, you have to answer to 30 questions correctly in this case, okay? Overall IELTS score. Your overall IELTS score will also be classified depending on the average band score among each of the 4 modules. 4 modules, you know, speaking, listening, writing, and reading, okay? For example, you can see on the screen, listening band 7, if you got 7 points from listening, if you got, let's say, 8 points from reading, from writing you got 8, and from speaking you got 7. The average will be 7.5. Okay, from IELTS test you will get 7.5. This is the average of 4 modules. Okay, up to now, questions? No. Okay, let's see now the reasons why people don't get high band from listening. Reason number 1, you don't practice listening. You would say now that, okay, but I do. I listen to some songs, I watch some movies and things like this. But probably this is not what you are doing regularly, okay? So you have to do it regularly, like on everyday basis. You are speaking Armenian or you are speaking Russian on regular basis every day, right? So the same thing you have to do with listening. You're also listening to your mother tongue on everyday basis. The same thing you have to do with listening. You have to practice it on daily basis as often as you can, okay? Pay attention. Solution 1, what you have to do, okay? So you have to watch movies, You have to watch TED Talks. You can also watch and listen some news like BBC, CNN, whatever, or you can watch some videos or news on, I don't know, on the internet, for example. Listen to some podcasts or interesting stories, audiobooks, for example. And things like this will help you to improve your listening skills. Reason number 2, you listen. You say, okay, I listen. I every day watch movies in English, or I listen to some news when I'm washing up and things like this. Okay, you are listening, but you are doing it in a passive way. Okay, you have to do it in an active way. What is it? The test that you are taking, the Ielts test, okay, it requires to do things while you are listening. Okay, you listen. At the same time, you read and you decide what is right, what is wrong, and then you write. Okay, during IELTS test, you are not only just passively listening, you are listening and you are doing 2 more things. Okay, so you have to listen actively. How to do it? You have to sit down and do the real listening. You have to concentrate. Okay, it's not about just listen for listening. Okay, you have to do the real work. You have to write down the unknown words from what you listened or watched and look them up in the dictionary. Try to find some synonyms, antonyms for them, some maybe phrases with those words. Try to memorize those words, okay? Try to use some these expressions in your own context, some sentences or situations, okay? Write them down, try to memorize. When you're listening, do the exercise of like listen for a gist, listen for the main idea, what this material is about, what's the main idea, okay? So then try to get also the details for it, okay? So give some details, tell what else you understood about the story, okay? And you can also do some practice tests on IELTS. So later in the end of the lesson, I will tell you what you can do as a homework so that to see what your current score band from IELTS listening is. Okay, so there is an official test, practice test on British Council website. I will share with you the link where you can go do your test and check yourself with the answer keys, okay? Reason number 3, your spelling is wrong. I have already mentioned about it. If you guess the word, if you write, for example, church, the word is church, you have to write church there. If you write the word church, you guess the word, but you write church like CHIRCH, your answer will be 0. I mean, you will not get 0.1 or 0.5 point. No, you will get 0 for it. It's not my rule. It's the IELTS rule. It's very strict. You have to be careful with the spelling, okay? Maybe you answer correctly and you don't have a problem with, if most of your mistakes, I would say this way, if most of your mistakes are connected with spelling, perhaps your problem is not listening. Your problem is spelling. You should stop practicing listening and you should work on your vocabulary and your spelling, okay? So it's not a problem for you to understand. It's the problem for you to write, okay? Okay. Yes, this is what I've just mentioned. Reason 4, you don't read the instructions carefully. Maybe you will say, oh no, I read, I'm very careful, I'm a hardworking person. Okay, you're a hardworking person and you think that you are attentive, but no, there are some tricky questions you have to be attentive. For example, here I brought some example. This is from listening, IELTS listening task 1. The instruction is the following. This is question 9 and 10. Choose correct letter A, B, or C. In the answer sheet, you have to write A, B, or C. If you write economy, it will be 0 point. You have to write A. You understand? If you don't understand the task, you will get a wrong answer. Okay, so you have, if it says that write the right letter, you have to write A, B, or C. Never write the word. Don't write economy, write A. Okay, so it's important to be able to read the instruction carefully. Okay, read the instruction carefully. Reason number 5, your vocabulary is not wide enough. You have to work on your vocabulary. The listening test is as much a vocabulary test as it is a listening test. For example, you have to try to enlarge your IELTS key vocabulary. There are a lot of sources that you can use in order to improve your vocabulary for IELTS. You have to understand the meaning of the words in order to be able to understand what the speaker was telling you about and make the right choice here. Okay, so you have to do that all. And for that, you need a very good vocabulary base. Okay. Good. Reason number 6, and also the solution. It says that you don't listen just once. No, during the IELTS test, you listen only once. Only once, only one time. You don't have the second chance. This is the problem. Usually during the lessons, we have the chance to listen to the material twice or even 3 times, right? One time for the gist, the second time for details, the third time maybe for vocabulary, things like this. But during IELTS test, there is no second chance to listen. You have to be concentrated and to be able to answer from the first time. And this needs really a very good practice. Okay, so you have to practice before the exam for that. You have to remember about it. Okay, why we're doing it? I mean, why the IELTS test is doing it? Why not the second time? Because in the real life, people do not repeat the same thing the second time usually, right? They say something and they go on. You can't stop the person, say, can you repeat it one more time, please? Because I didn't understand what you were saying, but the person was talking, let's say, for 5 minutes. You can't say the same thing for 5 minutes again, right? So that is why during the IELTS test, you have only one chance to listen, one time, no 2 times, okay? Reason number 7, why we don't get the right score here, because we do not predict, or we can't predict, okay? By the way, when the time is over, it will be over very soon, the time from Zoom. Please use the same code, the password, and log in to get into the lesson, okay? So after several minutes, I guess it will be cut. Okay, reason number 7 is because we can't predict what we can't predict. We can't predict what will happen next. Okay, so let's bring an example. The same example, questions number 9 and 10. So it says choose the correct answer. Let's say when we read the answer, type of insurance chosen, economy, standard, and premium. There are 3 options. And economy, standard, premium, maybe I can understand that, okay, I didn't hear the listening yet, but I can guess that it could be about levels of service, right? I can think about it before I listen, because I know premium, what is standard, what is economy, and I can understand it's about the level of service. It's a good quality service, it's a medium quality service, it's a standard medium quality service. And I can see also the word insurance. I can understand already, I can guess, I can predict that it can be about the level of the service of insurance. Okay, so you have to try to predict before you hear. It will help you to understand correctly and to choose the right answer. Okay, you have to be able to predict what it will be about, okay? You have to improve this skill. You can't predict, you have to learn how to predict. Okay, and reason 8, you can't hear the words. The native English speakers do not speak like robots, okay? They cannot, so they connect the words and you have to get used to it. It's called connected speech. For example, you say, I like traveling in the world. I don't know, some teachers speak like this, especially in the lower levels, elementary, beginner, pre-intermediate, or even the beginning of intermediate level. They say, I like traveling the world. Normal people don't speak like that, okay? If you travel abroad and you start speaking with a native speaker, or if you travel to a native speaking country and you talk to people there, you perhaps will be surprised because you will not be able to understand any word. They will be saying not, I want to travel the world. They will say, I want to travel the world. They're connecting all the words and they are linking them. It's called structured or linked speech, okay? You have to try to improve your listening skills. And there are some ways how, okay? Here you see some options. Listen to authentic speech. TED Talks is a very good source for listening, for improving your listening skills. And listen to some other audio materials and get your ear used to connected speech, not like, I want to travel the world, I want to travel the world. Okay, something like this, connected. Do micro listening. What is it? Micro listening, I will share the information later with you. But micro listening is like listening to one sentence only, stopping and writing down whatever you heard, whatever you understood, and then compare it with the text and see how many of the words you wrote correctly and you understood correctly. Okay, it's called micro because you are taking only one sentence, okay, or a part of a sentence, listen, and then you put it down and then make a comparison and say how much you could understand correctly, okay? And also listening dictations. This is a variation of micro listening. It's a bigger text that you can listen to and you can put down. Okay, next reason, number 9, you don't pay attention to signposting. Everyone does this through signposting language, intonation, and even sentence stress. You have to pay attention. What is signposting? You can see some examples of signposting here on the screen, like to express your purpose. You can say introducing the topic of the lecture. You can say, today we're going to talk about. So you can understand from this phrase that the person is just starting his speech, he's starting the introduction, okay? This is signposting. Or when someone is explaining the lecture structure, what he's going to say about, okay, during the lecture, he says like this, in today's lecture, I'm going to cover 3 points. You understand that the person is going to be talking about structure and so on and so forth. So later I will share also with you the slides so you can go through them. Next reason, and the most important, is reason number 10. You treat all questions in the same way. In this case, you will not succeed. When you have, for example, only one person topic, you have one strategy. When you have 2 people talking to each other, you have another strategy. 3 people or a group of people has quite a different strategy. And you have to approach each task with different strategy in listening, okay? And there are several, so I told you about the types of the questions at the very beginning, like multiple choice, just filling in the gaps and things like this. You have also to take into account this thing. Okay, solution for the 10th problem. You have to learn to approach different types of questions differently. Okay, so I will talk today about multiple choice questions because there are different types of questions and we'll have to talk for 3-4 hours about them. So that is why I will bring only the example on multiple choice questions today. And I will talk about using the step-by-step strategies, okay? This is the same example, questions 9 and 10. This is an example of a multiple choice. When you have A, B, C, and you have to make a choice between these options, okay? And I brought this example from the website of British Council. You see the source below. I mentioned the source below. It is from Ielts.org. If you go there, you will find this example. This is from the official website. So my advice is here, read the instructions. I told you already, it's very important. If it says choose A, B, or C, you can't write the word because it will be the wrong answer. Okay, so you have to write the letter, not the word. Be attentive to read the question attentively. Move